Hey ho, it's Marco Catania representing Charles Sturt University with yet another study aid for the subject ITI 597. Hey, in today's topic we're going to take a closer look at the objectives for request fulfillment. So we're going to look at some of the objectives for the request fulfillment process. Yeah, request fulfillment. It says here, request fulfillment is the process responsible for managing the life cycle of all the service requests. I guess it could also be called like a service request management rather than request fulfillment, because we're managing all the service requests. Examples of service requests is questions where you hear how do I do? And how do I do this? And how do I do that? And how do I create a table in Word? Or where can I find this document? Or can I please get a replacement battery for my mobile phone? Then we're dealing with service requests. So how do I do? Where can I find? Can I please get? Yeah, we're in a request fulfillment space. So what is a service request? Well, first of all, request fulfillment is the process that deals with all these service requests. We've seen it on the previous slide. So a service request itself is a request from a user for information or advice, or for a standard change, or maybe for access to an IT service. Now, service requests are usually handled by a service desk, and they do not require an RFC, a request for change, to be submitted into the formal change management process. We'll talk more about that one. But for now, a service request is a request from a user for information or advice, or for a standard change, or for access to an IT service. Try to remember that one. Yeah, request fulfillment, the goal. What does it say here? It says here ITIL doesn't actually mention a goal for this process in the service operation volume. Again, this doesn't mean it doesn't have one. So the goal, I think, should be something to deal with all the service requests in an efficient and effective manner within a set of agreed rules and service targets. So you're going to deal with all these service requests within boundaries set by the service level agreements. So basically it's about supporting the organization with many varying types of demands placed on the shoulders of IT, or IT shoulders. So you're really supporting them with anything. So request fulfillment. What about the purpose for request fulfillment? Again, ITIL doesn't really mention a purpose for this process. So here's my own purpose. To provide efficient and effective access to standard services without the pressure and/or perception of increased bureaucracy. Okay, so it's all about being a central point for information and support services for anything that's standard and not broken. Well, not broken as yet, because otherwise, if something is broken, it should go into incident management. It shouldn't come into the request fulfillment process. So yeah, that's the purpose, I think, to provide efficient and effective access to standard services without the pressure and/or perception of increased bureaucracy. So things should be easy and easy to access and easy to obtain. And it's all about being a central point for information and support services for anything that's standard and not broken as yet. Well, fortunately, ITIL does have some objectives for the request fulfillment process. Here's number one, to provide a channel for users to request and receive standard services for which a predefined approval and qualification process exists. So I'm a user, I want access to a standard application from the standard shopping list. I fill in a form, I submit it to request fulfillment, and they make sure I'll get access to it. To provide information to users and customers about the availability of services and the procedure for obtaining them. So what can I get, IT? Where can I find all the information? And how do I get access to, for example, the following applications? And they should help you. So they're really an information counter as well. Yeah, because ITIL doesn't really give you goals or a purpose for the process. They give you a whole list of objectives. So here are two more objectives. To source and deliver the components of requested standard services. For example, a user needs a new toner unit, or they need a replacement battery for their mobile phone. And again, that can actually be dealt with by this process. So there's also an interface between request fulfillment, for example, and the procurement areas within your business. To assist with general information, again, it's a bit of an information counter, but also to deal with like complaints or comments. I mean, some process needs to really like record all these complaints and comments. Often on behalf of the process service level management. I mean, service level management tells you you must track all the complaints, but then who's really doing it? Well, that's more or less like request fulfillment. So they are responsible. It's more like service level management being like accountable that all these complaints are being dealt with like appropriately. Yeah, practice what you preach. Of course, it's about understanding some of the objectives for the request fulfillment process. Hey, you've just walked into your favorite shopping mall, and surely you can't find that specific shop you're looking for. So as such, you head for the nearest information desk and ask them for directions. So what other services does the information desk like typically provide to you? And how can this be compared to the process we've just been like discussing, the process request fulfillment? Hey, have fun with the exercise, okay? A simple question, yeah. Which one of the following describes the objective for the process request fulfillment? Answer A. To deal with all the incidents and problems as quickly as possible. Answer B. To deal with many varying types of demand placed on the IT organization. Answer C. To detect and make sense of all the events. And answer D. To deal with all the normal change requests. I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about the answer, and then as usual we move on. So which one is like most correct? Of course it's answer B. Request fulfillment is all about like dealing with all these varying types of demands placed on like the IT organization. So in the next topic we're going to look at like some of the basic concepts for this process, request fulfillment, still part of the volume service operation. Hey, until then, live long and prosper, nanu nanu, and as always, I'll be back.